Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alyssa Cooper, and this is Cooking in Quarantine. I have already been to the gym this morning, so my level of thirst is higher than normal. So I'm going to have this little refreshing grapefruit drink. Delicious. So, guys, cooking in quarantine is going to be a little odd this week and next week. I have been taking care, and we've made a plan because with all of the spikes in hospitalizations and new infections and stuff, I'm starting to feel like that Christmas is probably not a reality. So my mom and dad and several of my very closest friends are going to take off for Hilton Head on Thursday morning. We're very excited. I have a very, very, very strong feeling that people will not follow CDC guidelines and will go ahead and have big Thanksgiving and indoors and no social distancing and not with the doors open and not with the windows open, not outside, and that Thanksgiving is going to be a super spreader event. And with quarantines and lockdowns going into place in Europe, as they say, we were about a month behind them in the spring. We're going to be about a month behind them here in the fall. So I'm expecting that I won't be able to go home for Christmas. So, because I'm going to be away all next week, I've decided that it doesn't make a lot of sense to cook when you're going to be going away. I've got plenty of food in the fridge. I actually cooked a lot this weekend. I have a friend who is hospitalized, so in my worry, I couldn't sit idly by. So I cooked all weekend long, got up on Sunday morning, took a ton of food to their house, and that ameliorated my anxiety. So I have here some chicken bones that got cooked down again, and that needs to be picked and stuff. So I think probably what I'll do a little later today is maybe make a quesadilla or maybe a little chicken salad, because I have a couple of pieces of bread that need to be eaten. I've got some potatoes over here that could be used, but I don't really want to cook anything new until I've eaten what I've gotten or given away what I've gotten. I've got a couple of batches of soup in here. Actually, I'd say probably about 4 bowls of soup in here. So just some things like that. So I didn't think it made a whole lot of sense to cook today. So I thought what I'd do is I'd talk about my favorite things. So what are my favorite things? So let's talk about some of those things. And I've realized, I never cooked. I didn't ever have children. So I've never had to cook every day and be responsible for feeding people or seeing to it that they don't starve to death. So I'll show you a few of the things that I really love. One of the things that is essential to me is this little tiny, most people might call it a butter warmer, but it's a dairy warmer for me. I like my coffee very hot. So every morning I get up, I put an inch or 2 of milk in here, and I heat my milk up while the water is coming up to a boil in my kettle. And then I use a pour over because I hardly ever drink more than 1 cup of coffee a day. And so I love this. It's made by our friends at Melita, and you simply put it on top. I have several of them. I have this number 2 size, and I have a number 4 size, and I have a number 6 size. So depending on how many cups of coffee I need to make, I still just pour it over, and it's, I think, the best way to make coffee is like this. Just right into the cup. Or now I do have a pot if I need to pot, but the way that I was taught about coffee is that you don't want coffee to sit on a hot burner. That's why I do it this way, is so that if I need a second cup of coffee, then I will get up and make myself a second cup of coffee, as opposed to letting it sit around and basically dehydrate all day, right? As long as it's sitting with heat under it, the steam is releasing, so the coffee's getting thicker and thicker and thicker all day long. And I'm a little bit of a sassafras, and when you spend, $15, $30 a pound on your coffee, you don't want it to burn away. So the Melita pour over is absolutely one of my favorite things. Another thing that I love is, and I've only recently learned to love it because I haven't owned one for very long, but I love my immersion blender. First of all, I can make frozen coffee drinks now with it because I can blend things up and froth things up and basically make a cappuccino at home if I want. I can quickly blend something up. I found that things like, I like to make these mochas. So I can use this to blend the hot chocolate into the milk really well. So then when I put the coffee in, then it all blends together and it's not like the chocolate isn't sitting at the bottom of the pot. Another thing that I absolutely love, I keep a little crock out on my cupboard with butter all the time. Now, over the years I have had several Le Creuset in beautiful bright colors, green, purple, and sadly I have broken so many of them that this last time I got a cast iron one. It will be very hard for me to break this. So that is one of my favorite things. And especially now I've realized that this cast iron is very cold, so it's actually keeping my butter cool at the same time that it's keeping it soft. Another little thing that I like to do is, of course, everybody's got their kitchen shears in the kitchen, but I have a pair of scissors everywhere. There's a pair of scissors in that drawer, a pair of scissors in the bedside drawer, a pair of scissors in the cupboard in the bathroom, a pair of extra scissors here. You can't have too many scissors, I don't think. And being able to have them handy when you need them is better than it saves steps, right? And you can buy a pack of 5 sets of scissors. You're not going to use them that often. They'll last you forever. Another thing that I think is a must-have is a flashlight. I have these little flashlights in literally every drawer in my house. There's one in my kitchen drawer, one in each bedside table. There's one here right next to the kitchen door. They're very essential. You can't have enough of them. If you've ever lived through a blackout in New York City and tried to walk down a windowless stairwell, 19, 20, 10, 5, pick your number of floors. It's very frightening to walk down a set of stairs in the absolute pitch dark. And you would be amazed at how fast your bulbs might go once you start using your flashlight an awful lot. So those are 2 little things there. Other things that I love, one of the first, if you remember back in the early days of cooking in quarantine, I only had this kind of microplane side available to me, and one day tried to grate butter, and it was such a sad story that someone actually sent me a proper grater, and so this makes me feel great because I can grate so easily. This is a really wonderful thing to have. Mine's an OXO, and I like it a lot. It actually, somewhere around here, there's a little box on the bottom of it so it'll catch your stuff, but that is an absolute must-have. But when we really talk about a must-have, you know how I love to microplane. There is no reason to chop garlic. It just is a waste of your time. Why chop garlic when you can grate it right in, right? So the microplane is a big, big, big thing that I love. I have several of them. Something I learned recently was that, oh goodness, I didn't clean this very well last night, did I? Here, we'll do that a little later. Oops. This I think is also an OXO, but this is a very, very thin spatula, something that I didn't have before, and I really, really appreciate it now. And I see that there is such a huge difference between having a really thin surface, and this is silicone, so it's bendable. And that is has been very helpful to me recently as I've learned to cook some different things lately. I love my bench scrape. This thing is great. I remember seeing the woman who, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, but one of the doctors was on Rachel one day many years ago. And here was Rachel, just, scooping up with the side of her knife. And she just nurse got incensed that, she might hurt herself. And she said, at least turn your knife around. And then suddenly, Rach has a bench scrape. And I love this. This is great for getting dough up off of things, for taking large piles of veg to the pan, and that kind of thing. Other things I love, and I think are absolutely essential. Our friends at Le Creuset, if you don't have a Le Creuset pot, ask for one for Christmas. And the bigger the better, is what I would say. I love my Le Creuset. They are almost indestructible. They come in lots of cool and wonderful colors. And I love Le Creuset pots. I use, as a matter of fact, most of like my lasagna pots and most of my, matter of fact, let's pull one out. This kind of stuff. I have this also in Le Creuset. And boy, that is not clean. Let's put that back. My hand is just greasy. That's funny. So anyway, and then of course, cast iron. It's funny, I have these two pieces here. This I bought at Williams-Sonoma probably 20 years ago, and this was my great-great-grandmother's. So they are both precious to me and really essential. And then finally, I would say that, of course, you know that I have fallen madly in love with my Cuisinart. Madly, madly, madly in love with my Cuisinart. I never realized how important it was to have this kind of power, and that it gives me so much, that it gives me so much more opportunity to make such a widely different group of things. I said to my mom the other day, when she was telling me, my mother has, bless her heart, I love her. She's a great baker, a terrific cook. But I asked her, do you have this and such, and don't you have this, and don't you have, I think I asked her if she had an immersion blender. She said no. I said, I know you don't have a Cuisinart. I said, do you have a good blender? She's like, no. I'm like, how do you make pureed soups? She said, I don't. So there's that. So these are a few of my favorite things. I'm sure that probably somewhere around here, I have forgotten this. This is one of the best things I've ever had. This sits right on top of the glass and allows you to, citrus juice directly into the glass. This is super precious to me. This was a gift to me from my friend, the Queen of the Hudson, who was the widow of Paul Chambers. So any of you who are jazz aficionados, you know exactly who I'm talking about when I say Paul Chambers. And this was an absolute, this is terrific. I love this little critter. So let's see, is there anything else around here that we can talk about? I don't think so. Those are really the things that I think. I think it's Alton Brown who talks about how much he hates single-use equipment in the kitchen. And I kind of feel that way. I mean, this may seem like a single use, but it sorts the seeds out, and that's really, really helpful. And it's not single use. It works on almost all citrus fruits. So that's probably all we're going to talk about today, guys. Again, I'm very, very excited about being just out of New York next week. I haven't been out of New York except to Montauk and Bedminster, New Jersey in, is it 9 months? How long have we been here? I don't even know. Time has no meaning. I sat upright in the bed this morning and said, holy things I shouldn't say out loud first thing in the morning, because I was so afraid that it was the day I was supposed to be up at 3 and on my way to the airport. That's something that's funny, is that I can't get up and do what I normally would do, which is hop on the train and go to Newark Airport. But the trains aren't open early enough in the morning anymore. So instead of calling an Uber, I'm going to go with a good old Carmel car service. 666-6666. 666. So anyway, guys, that's my story for today. I'm trying not to mess things up any more than I have to. I'm kind of listen, I love to travel. If I won the $100 million lottery, all I would do is sit around watching my watch, waiting for COVID to be over so that I could start traveling. But I'm also kind of an anxious leaver of the house. If I know I'm going to be gone for 4 or 6 or 10 days, it's hard for me to get out of the house. It's hard. I should have lists, but I'm not that person. I'm always like, did I bring my makeup? Did I bring my toothbrush? Did I remember to pack bras? Do I have sneakers? Am I, like the other day when I went to go to Pilates, grabbed my jacket and turned around and my yoga pants were on the bed. So I'm a little bit of a nervous person about leaving for long periods of time. So it's always better for me to do things like go to bed with pin curls in my hair so that I know I can be out the door in under 10 minutes in case of an absolute nightmare, which happened to me once years ago before we were going to a wine tasting in Miami. And I woke up and realized that we should have been at the airport, like right then. And I grabbed my clothes, ran out the door, basically pulling one leg of pants on at a time, and called my partner saying, oh my God, 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 we've overslept. I'm coming to pick you up in a taxi right now. So those kinds of things aren't good for me. They shorten my life, and I don't need that kind of stress. So anyway, guys, I'm going to be tending to all the little details, making sure that, the plants all got watered before I left, that Tom has a key, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys are doing things to keep your anxiety at bay today. I hope you all have a plan for seeing your parents or sending them a love note or flowers or some food if you are blessed enough to still have your parents with you. So, guys, that's my story today. Thank you all, as always, for coming here. You give me purpose. You give me a center, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So go and clean out your refrigerator. Make yourself something good to eat. And if you've got some left over, share. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. See you tomorrow.